Hello, this is a very short video for the Gloco Mission Gathering local planning teams. The video topic is on team roles and dynamics. The objectives for this session include reviewing the recommended primary roles associated with planning and executing a GMG event, reviewing the example ground rules and foundational items for teams, gaining exposure to a few tools that have been made available to help your teams through this process, and reviewing the extended team and organizational reminders for the extended team. As this is not a new event, there have been a set of established rules that have been developed that have been working over time for planning and executing these events. That includes the general facilitation role, who is the primary event owner and project manager. Serves as the key liaison between the church-wide planning groups, the consultants, the coordinators, the local planning teams, the key stakeholders. So this is the primary person that is running and planning this event. The publicity facilitator obviously owns the publicity component of the event. However, it is key and crucial to note that this is really a role that is owned by everybody on the team. Although the publicity facilitator may be driving a lot of the process, everyone needs to have an active role in publicity and promotion and meeting people and talking to them one-on-one to make for a successful event. We have the transportation facilitator, who is focused on local transportation, representatives, special guests, the overall transportation needs. You have the treasurer, which is monitoring, the finances for the event, kind of being that gatekeeper. You have the volunteer coordinator that is focused on all of the extended team. So on event date, what volunteers do you need to have in place? And we'll review this a little bit later in this presentation. You have the audio-visual coordinator, who is looking for the media needs for the event, such as having projectors and making sure rooms are set up. You have the program facilitator, who is the key liaison with Churchwide for developing the programming for this particular event. You have the meals facilitator, who's focused on the meals and the snacks for the event, organizing, planning those, and running the volunteers. You have the logistics facilitator, who's organizing the physical space for the purposes of the event. The registration information facilitator, who's focused primarily on registration day, setting up, getting volunteers, setting up the volunteers, training them to be able to run the registration tables. You have the decor facilitators. This is a new position, but you could set up this for someone that it's just short term on the day prior to the event to be able to come in and decorate everything, versus a longer term position. You have the folks from the church-wide group, such as the director for global formation. You have the manager for logistics and resources, and the administrative assistant. So these are resources that are available to help you through this process, and each team is going to be a little bit different as far as the level of engagement, but it's really up to you and your needs and how much you would like their support in this particular process. As you're pulling the teams together, it'd be a good idea to set common ground rules. So have a conversation with the teams, and items such as communication. What level of communication will overwhelm people? What level of communication makes sure that they're informed and know what's going on? Accountability, that everyone's expectations are aligned to help reduce conflict or tension. So just a tool or process that helps everyone align their expectations, rather than having one large deliverable, the event, splitting it out into 5 smaller deliverables so that you can celebrate the victories along the way. Respecting each other's time or different styles. For example, meetings. How are you going to run your meetings, and how is everyone? Is everyone on the same page on what a productive meeting looks like? Finding ways to help each other, set each other up for success. Push each other, teach each other, building, having conversations about this up front. Shared successes, in particular on diversity and publicity, 2 critical items that most teams find challenging, and it's realizing that it's everyone's responsibility to try and promote getting diversity to the event and just getting people in general to the event via reaching out to people one-on-one, everyone putting on a sales hat, for example. And then positively meeting conflict head-on quickly before it, morphs into something that unhealthy for the team. And then, of course, having fun, building long-term relationships, having a good focus for the team. So every team goes through a team building process, starting with a somewhat uncomfortable, unproductive stage, and somewhere along the line morphs into a highly functioning team that's having a lot of fun while they're going through this process. To help with this process, and since there is some upfront planning work to do, a few facilitation exercises have been developed and placed on the Google Documents folder that you could use as a guide to help your team in setting the initial direction and start that team building process. The names of the files will all start with facilitation. A few tools have been developed to help the teams come together and plan and execute a successful GMG event. For example, a Google website has been created that has a knowledge management flair. And so what this is targeted at is as you're going through the process and you note things hit you by surprise that you weren't ready for, things that you think might help others that are going through this process in the future, another GMG event, local planning team somewhere else in the country. The Google website gives you a space to just post comments, to the publicity facilitator. It would be a good thing to note this, or this worked very well for me, or it's just this communication collaboration forum for you just posting comments and sharing what you've learned with others for their use. Google Documents is a place where tools and forms and a lot of documentation has all been placed on this for collaborating as a team, and as you're going through the GMG handbook or workbook, you'll see a little icon that says this tool is available, or some sort of tool or document is available on the Google Documents website for use that goes in tandem with your workbook. Now, you can run through the process entirely just using the handbook, offline process. These tools are just available for your help. Also, Google Forms are available where if you need to gather information from a broad set of people across the country, for example, or locally, you can send an email link to create a form, send an email link to it, and then have that information automatically collated for you. All the information is put in one place. You don't have to consolidate it and retype things in. It's all done for you. And then, of course, the GMG handbook workbook. Any successful event is going to require an extended team of volunteers surrounding the event. This is just a list of certain things to take in mind. Your team will probably take this further, but just as a starting point for the conversation, making sure that the right amount of volunteers are there, that they have work to do, that there's not too many volunteers, and they feel valued in what they're doing. Likewise, you want to make sure there are enough, so it's a fine balance so that people aren't stressed because there aren't enough people there to do the work. Trying to match the gifts of the volunteers to the role rather than just needing a body, if possible. Making sure that everyone feels respected, kind of having this mentality that, any given 5 minutes if someone is not feeling respected or valued, that they can leave, and just trying to make people feel happy throughout the process. Training, so that volunteers know exactly what to do, so that, to ease their tension levels or stress levels, they've been trained, they should well trained, well thought out, so that they know exactly what to do. That they feel empowered, that they're, you're showing them that they're trusted and respected, and that they are empowered to take on the different roles. That there's diversity represented in the roles. That a lot of organizing and planning in regards to the volunteers has taken place, so that you're not kind of figuring it out as they're there, so their time isn't wasted. That they're just there for the exact amount of time that they're needed, and they're very efficient and productive while they're there. So in conclusion, we wanted to, in this video, run through very quickly some of the team roles, dynamics, and volunteering concerns very quickly in a few minutes, and hopefully we've successfully reviewed the recommended primary roles associated with planning and executing the event, the list up front. We've reviewed the example ground rules, foundational items for teams. You guys can use this to leverage and extend beyond that. Gained exposure to a few tools available to help your team through this process, and kind of reviewed the extended team, the volunteers, and some organizational reminders to kind of get your conversations going. I hope you have found this useful and that you have a very